The trip throughout the Dragon Kingdom has been incredible. We have done now 17 videos on dragons, and to be honest, it is high time we move on to the next type of creature. I know some of you wanted to see some Tiamat and Bahamut stuff, but I'm thinking of saving those for our celestial videos when we talk about the heavens and angels and maybe even devils and all that good stuff. But for now, we have the very last of the dragons in the monster manual. Prepare yourself to understand the Faerie dragon. The Faerie dragons are extremely small draconic creatures, commonly referred to be the size of household cats. They possess an iridescent coat of scales that reflect all the colors of the rainbow, colors that represent the age of the dragon. They have a long and prehensile tail that twitches and moves with the emotions of the creature, and lastly, they wear the most beautiful of butterfly wings around their backs, which they use to fly with incredible dexterity. First, as always, let's see what the Monster Manual tells us about these creatures. We're told that they are constantly invisible, where they plan tricks and pranks on unsuspecting travelers. We're told that they are good company, they have a fondness for treasure and are fairly intelligent. They can be bribed like a dragon could be with treasure, but in the form of sweets, baked goods, and bubbles. And lastly, we're told that the color of their scales of the dragon changes as the creature ages, going through all the colors of the rainbow, starting with red and ending with violet. They are natural sorcerers, as all dragons are, and they become stronger the older they get. But that's it, that's all we get. I mean, look at the size of this entry, it's not even a page. Outside of the physical description of the creature, we get 3 small paragraphs describing its behavior. And I mean, to be honest, we don't even get a real description of the creature either. If we didn't even have a picture, it would honestly be kinda tricky to even know how they look like. You know what? Let's start right there, actually. The Monster Manual does not tell you that the wings of the Faerie dragon don't actually change color. Since we're not given a description and the picture shows the wings being the same color as the dragon, it would make sense to believe that the entire creature changes colors as it ages, but in reality, the wings are always the same color throughout the life of the creature. It is only the body that changes. In actuality, the wings of a Faerie dragon are always a platinum color, regardless of age and regardless of gender. If you pay close attention to the description we're given, it says that the scales of the dragon changes. And, well, the wings wouldn't be scales, would they? And there is, however, a small difference between males and females in this regard. It has been catalogued that females shine with a bright golden tinge in the sunlight, whereas males have more of a silver type of tinge. In any case, let's talk a bit about the Faerie dragon, things that the Monster Manual does not tell you. First, Faerie dragon, like most pseudo dragons, like forests, but they not only like temperate forests, they also like tropical forests. In fact, they might actually be the only type of dragon that we have talked about so far that actually enjoys tropical forests. They make their lairs typically high off the ground, in the main branches, in the crotches, or in the hollows of trees, making their home out of whatever material they can find around. Sometimes grass, sometimes leaves, spider silk, twigs, small branches, tree bark, and or mud. They are considered to be herbivores, eating fruits, roots, tubers, nuts, honey, and grains, though it has been seen, however, to be willing to hunt for insects if it is necessary. It is funny, though, because they do have a particularly favorite thing to eat, which so happens to be their favorite treasure. See, just like with any dragon, Faerie dragons like shiny things like gems, but they don't care enough to hoard it. What they truly want, which is also their favorite thing to eat, are baked sweets. That is truly their greatest desire. To some degree, you can't really be surprised. I mean, the dragon is a fey creature. It makes sense for it to have such a Disney type of desire, but there it is. It is funny because it has been catalogued the incredible degree that a Faerie dragon would go for baked sweets, to the point where they seemingly are addicted to them. And on top of all of the sweets that they could get, the epitome of deliciousness that a Faerie dragon could obtain is the apple pie. Quote, The lengths to which a fairy dragon would go to get all these delights, pure honey for one, or baked apple pie, which is the ultimate, are legendary, end quote. Saying that their sweet tooths often get them in trouble. In fact, a lot of their pranks revolve around getting such sweets. For example, countless times do fairy dragons use their illusory magic to change the form of a beehive into that of a treasure chest, tricking travelers into trying to open it and then getting attacked by the bees. This would both amuse the dragon's need for pranking, but also distract the bees enough for the dragon to take the honey. A classic prank for this type of creature. It is actually fairly common as well for the fairy dragon to use animals as part of their pranks, since these creatures can actually speak to them. The monster manual does not seem to say this, but fairy dragons have a natural ability to be able to speak with forest animals, which probably comes with their facility at understanding the Sylvan language, a skill that they use to make friends with Sylvan creatures in their home. The monster manual does not tell you this either, but fairy dragons are actually very social in the forest, and they will always settle their homes close to that of other fae creatures. You will typically see a fairy dragon lairing close to the tree of a dryad, the lake of a nymph, or the lair of a tribe of sprites. Fairy dragons especially like congregating around and making friends with fun pixies, who they love to join together with in order to create pranks. Laughing together with someone is always better than laughing alone, something that fairy dragons understand very well. Attacking a fairy dragon is dangerous because of this, since they never go for a one-on-one battle. If their invisibility has failed them and their illusory spells prove ineffective, the fairy dragon will call for their allies, which are always plentiful and always close by. Now, fairy dragons tend to have a lot of illusion-based spells. That's because it always tries to bewilder and confuse other people. They have the capabilities of learning almost any spell if they truly wanted to. The problem is that they actually don't want to. The monster manual gives you a list of spells that the dragon will learn as it ages, but this is really just a suggestion. Honestly, anything is possible with the fairy dragon, but only if it can be used as a prank. Fairy dragons learn spells for pranking purposes and for nothing more, and they will never get a spell for the simple reason of hurting someone. It is said that a fairy dragon sometimes spends months practicing a new spell just to use it on a prank. It has been developing for a while. But hey, if it needs to learn an offensive spell like magic missiles for the prank to work, then it'll do so. But once again, as long as the reason is not to hurt a person, but for a trick. Now, the fairy dragon's favorite spells to learn are legend lore and water breathing. Legend lore is a bit obvious, as it satisfies the curiosity of the dragon and allows for knowledge that can be used for pranking, but water breathing is a bit more interesting. See, the monster manual does not tell you at all, but fairy dragons love swimming. In fact, they are incredible swimmers. You could even say that outside of pranking and eating sweets, this would be their next favorite hobby. They can swim extremely fast and are marvelously dexterous underwater, which explains why their favorite spell to learn is actually water breathing. The last thing that I want to talk about is the incredible resistance that fairy dragons have towards magic. Nowadays, it is very rare to actually find a creature that is straight up immune to magic. The most famous one, of course, being the Rakshasa, who cannot be hurt by spells lower than level 7. This, interestingly enough, is also sort of the case with fairy dragons. In the 5th edition monster manual, the dragon gets a simple magic resist ability, which allows it to roll advantage on a spell saving throw, but in reality, the creature is supposed to be near invincible when it comes to resisting magic. Originally, Gary Gygax, the creator of Dungeons & Dragons, gave the Violet Fairy Dragon, which is the oldest, a 96% resistance to magic. This resistance became lower the higher level mage you were, but it also became even greater the weaker of a mage you were. If you were a starting mage, for example, like a level 5 mage, it would make the Faerie Dragon literally impossible to hit with any form of magic spell coming from you. Even in 3rd edition, the Faerie Dragon was given a particularly potent magic resistance, essentially making it so that whenever you would want to target the dragon with a spell, you had to roll a saving throw yourself to see if you could even make it happen, and then if you did manage to make it happen, you still had to contend with the really high saving throws against magic for the Faerie Dragon. You know, they say that the weakness of fake creatures is cold steel, and this is why, since they are supposed to be incredibly magic resistant, and the Faerie Dragon is no exception. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for sticking with the Dragon series all the way till the end. Unfortunately, there really wasn't as much for the Faerie Dragon as there was for some of the other types, but you know, that's just the way things go. There really hasn't been much lore made by Dungeons & Dragons in the present or the past for this creature, which is a shame, and it does explain why the entry in the monster manual was so small. You guys might not know, but most of what you see in the monster manual is straight up taken from 3rd and 4th edition, sometimes even copy-pasted. But there really wasn't any strong entry for Faerie Dragons in those editions, so we didn't get much this time either. Most of what I mentioned here came from 1st and 2nd edition because, I mean, that's really all we have. I would like to personally thank my Patreon supporters Rukato Fan, Major Fail Gaming, Wyatt Curlin, Barry Maskant, 5E Magic Shop, Thraxeris, Toby Oliver, Dylan Baker, Zach Bowell, Spencer Boweck, and Mediocre at Best for supporting me on Patreon at the $25 level. If you would like to support me as well, then please head on over to patreon.com/MrRhexx to support. Guys, once again, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to try and figure out what's going to be the next series that I'm going to make. If it's going to be angels, if it's going to be undead, vampires, I mean, whatever, right? I'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know on Twitter, and I will just get started to work on that. I'm not sure when the next video is going to be because I'm kind of busy for the rest of the week, including the weekend, so maybe expect the next video Wednesday or Thursday, something like that, but I'll be hard at work as fast as I can to get you guys some more awesome D&D content. Thank you once again, and I will see you all on the next video. Bye-bye.